Welcome to the Mountain Dude Podcast, brought to you by Initial Ascent, where we share stories of grit, determination, and the relentless pursuit of growth. This is a space where backcountry hunting meets the deeper lessons of life. Success born from struggle and the art of carrying heavy loads more comfortably, both physically and metaphorically, through faith and perseverance. Join us as we explore the paths that shape us, celebrate victories big and small, and fuel our journey with hope and tenacity. This is the Mountain Dude Podcast, where we climb higher together. Son.
Like with that candy bag in there, that's my weakness. You know that.
Yeah.
That's my weakness.
You put a Reese's peanut butter cup in front of me, it's gone.
Don't.
Okay, I'd hate to be that peanut butter cup.
Yeah.
Oh,
that thing's in trouble.
So you're
I would agree with you.
a chocolate guy.
Yeah.
Chocolate and peanut butter.
Okay.
Chocolate and peanut butter.
Yeah.
So like more so like chocolate candy bar stuff or like the gummy candies?
No, chocolate candy
Okay.
bar.
See, I'm the gummy candy guy. Yeah.
I can't do candy. But like
Really?
chocolate peanut butter. But I can't do chocolate at night. It gives me a migraine. Finally figured that out. If I have it like
Really?
after like 5 or 6 at night.
Dude, I could drink a 6-pack of Mountain Dew and go right to sleep.
Man, I haven't had
Wouldn't even faze me. I'd just be out.
I haven't had a Mountain Dew in I don't know how long.
I used to drink it like crazy. Now if I drink it, I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
it's pretty syrupy. But
Yeah. I bet it tastes delicious because I ain't had it in so long. It'd probably be really good. Yeah.
No doubt.
You guys have a lot of sugar?
No, we don't.
Okay.
We try not to. I mean, I don't know. Ever since I've been freeze drying stuff, I figured out how to freeze dry ice cream sandwiches because I heard it was cool.
No way. Does it actually work?
Oh, it works.
they're so good.
Are they really?
They are.
I've never had a freeze-dried
I just had
ice
like
cream
the
sandwich.
Mountain House ones. Are awesome.
Yeah, that's what I had.
See, because that I've never. Every time I look at it, I'm like,
It's good.
is it?
The best thing that I
Uh-oh,
did
dangerous.
was smoothie bites.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Made up smoothie, real high protein and everything, but I put
Good thing I don't have one of those. I'd just be doing Skittles.
yeah,
They're so good.
blowing them up.
They're so good.
Oh
That
yeah,
would be good. That's genius.
yeah. I tell you what, man, it's hard to back away from.
That is a
But,
really good idea. I might have to steal some of those from you for a hunt and try them out.
oh, I got plenty.
Yeah.
I promise you,
Great idea.
plenty.
Well, we start every podcast with a prayer, so let's pray and get down to the weeds. Father, we're so gracious just to be able to gather here today, Lord. We're so blessed by your presence, and we just ask for your guidance, Lord. Just be with us in this fellowship and in this conversation, Lord. Just continue to guide us and use us as you may. Lord, we love you, and we ask that if any glory may come from this, that you may gain it, Lord. We say these things humbly in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Well, Zach Bowhay, welcome to the Mountain Dude Podcast.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Finally got a good-looking dude in the seat.
I've
Yeah.
been waiting the whole time. Yeah.
I've been starving for one.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. So,
So I want to dive into your backstory a little bit, but
Okay.
let's start this the right way because you have some epic hunting stories. I've listened to you on so many podcasts, and I'm going to
of
put you in the
BS,
hot
huh?
seat right now. I want like all top 3. It doesn't have to be your favorite one. I won't put you all the way in the hot seat. I'll give you an out. Give me top 5. Give me one of your favorite hunting stories.
I can go. Last year was one of my favorite.
Okay.
Easy. I had a muzzleloader elk hunt in Idaho, and it was so my father-in-law had an elk tag that opened, and my boy had an elk tag that opened October 1st. And mine opened the same day, but in a different unit. So I got my father-in-law, got him a real nice bull on the 1st, and I was hunting with my boy, and but he had to go back to school. He was in high school and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the 9th of October, and I went out, spotted a really nice bull chasing some cow. Well, there's like 7 bulls on this hill, 30 or 40 cows, and the bull was dogging this like one yearling calf. Like I don't know why, but just all day following it. Went way up there into the trees and kind of disappeared. And I there were some ag fields way down below, and there's no water where they were at. And I'm like, they got to be going down there somewhere, at night. And so
Right.
I thought, well, I'm just going to hang out this afternoon. I'm just going to hike up there and like just get set up because I knew they weren't coming down because I'd been up there. I knew they weren't coming down in the light, but I figured it would be at dark. So I wanted to be as close as possible to be up there, So I thought, I'm just going to make this big hike. And the funnest part about this whole deal is it was the 9th of October.
Okay.
So what happens on the 10th of October in Idaho?
Yeah,
deer season.
a mess.
Well, there's all these dudes glassing from the road, and like a bunch of guys glassing for deer. There's quite a few deer in this spot, and they're all glassing. And I drive up and I park and I get out and I put my backpack on and I've got my gun in one of the stealthy gun carriers that Ryan makes, and so you can't tell it's not a rifle. so I get out and I start hiking the hill, and you can tell these guys are all like, "Uh-oh, what is this dude doing?" Like he's early, and so I made this huge climb up this hill, and there was some ribbon cliffs that he was up in this. There's a huge patch of trees, and it kind of bottlenecks and comes a little patch of trees, and they were in the little trees in the morning, and then they went up into the big trees, and I thought, well, I'm not going to find. It was a big patch. I'm like, I'm not going to find them there, so I'm just going to get up below that patch and set up, and I should be within hopefully striking distance if they come out before dark. And so I get up there, and I'm right on top of this big, I kind of peek over. It's like a 30-foot ribbon cliff, probably ran 200 yards long, and I'm like walking along, kind of trying to, I'm peeking up the hill, they'll probably come up there 500-600 yards, and I hear something, and I look straight down, and that calf there's a yearling calf standing straight below me, kind of the scenario you always dream of on a buck deer, you just pop over and shoot it, and so here's this calf standing there, and I'm like, well, that looks just like it's just a yearling calf, and so I kind of snuck up, and I was just watching her, and I thought, well, if he comes out, he'll be right there. And I walked I dropped my pack, and I walked about 10 feet from it, and I thought, oh, all my reloads are in my big pouch on my pack, and if I need them, to shoot, I want them. So I turned around, I backed up, and I walked back to my pack and grabbed it. I come sneaking back over, and I'm just sitting there watching this bull or this cow, and I hear something. I look to my left, and there's 4 mule deer. I think they'd seen me when I went back to my pack, and they kind of come walking out. And then I just look back, and here he is walking through the opening 30 yards away, and I'm like, holy. So I just pulled up freehand, and he was about to go through the opening, and I had a cow call my mouth. This cow called, stopped, and boom, shot. And he made a big jump and picked up his leg on the side I hit him, and he turned straight down. The cow went that way, and I heard him crash. He didn't go very far, and so it was super cool. But I knew he didn't go far, so I walked around. I went down there, and he'd ran. There was a hillside like this and a hillside like this, the most beautiful, just yellow grass, nothing on the ground. And right where those two hills met, there was a ravine, and he jumped over the only big dead tree, jumped over, hit the ground, stumbled, fell underneath that tree. I didn't carry a saw until now. I couldn't move him up, couldn't move him down, couldn't do nothing. So my wife was quite a ways, a couple hours away, and I called her and said, hey, I need you to come meet me. So she drove Claire in. My brother actually got her and brought her because she would never have found me in a million years. But,
no kidding.
But they drove in. She hiked up and gave me the saw. And we cut them up, packed them out. But,
well, what about the 30 guys that were on the highway glassing you, watching?
They're taking pictures of his license plate.
So when I went over the hill, I had disappeared from where they could see, and they all drove down the road, and they're all watching me. I shot, and I don't. If they'd have been watching through a spot and scope, they might have seen it. Yeah, but more than likely, they didn't see what happened. So I shot. Muzzleloaders I don't know if you've hunted with muzzleloaders. They're not loud like a rifle's loud. Maybe they didn't hear it, but if they did, they all stayed until dark, and then they all left. And it was several hours after dark. We were walking off there, and a truck came down the road up above, and he was sitting there, and I was for sure it was going to be the game warden.
Yeah.
But, finally, he drove off, and nothing to do. The next morning, we drove in there to pack the rest of it out, and I think we blew up. There was deer hunters. I don't think they were real happy, but
I'm sure not.
Had to go with the elk, so went and got it and walked out. But,
did you go in there wearing orange?
Just my orange on my pack. That's it. But, yeah, it was cool. It was a really cool hunt.
That is cool. Yeah. That's really cool. So you were solo when you shot that bull?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about who Zach Bowhay is.
just a normal dude from Idaho who likes to hunt elk.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just grew up in a little town, and my dad owned a little archery shop out of our house. And so my dad was like, I've told this a million times on podcasts and articles, but my dad is just an elk hunter. That's what he did. He had a normal job, but he didn't really hunt deer, didn't really hunt antelope, a little bit, but he mostly just archery hunted elk. And so I was pretty fortunate that, that's what I was. Which I've killed some of the muzzleloader, but I've killed the majority of my elk with a bow. And he just took me from a really, really young age, and we hunted a lot together up until a few years ago. He has trouble now because he's got a bad back, but we just hunted a lot together. And when I got old enough to start traveling, I just kind of ran with it. And then I drug him all over the West and my buddies. And
how old were you when you started hunting elk?
12.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was probably legal age.
Yeah, it was legal age then. Yeah. I didn't kill my first bull. Yeah, it's 10 now. So I didn't kill my first bull until I think I was 15 when I killed my first one, and then just
every year since.
No, I missed a couple. I didn't kill. I only killed one in high school. I killed that one, and then I killed a bull the year I graduated. I took all fall off. I told my dad I was going to quit my job and hunt elk, and that's what I did. And I shot a bull that year with him, and then shot a few since then.
How cool was that, having your dad own an archery shop?
Yeah, it was just like a room in our basement. I mean, that was it.
But he could get deals on bows.
Oh yeah,
all that good stuff.
My wife doesn't understand because I love new bows. I get new bow every year, even if I have to pay for them. And she's just like, "This isn't normal." I'm like, "I did it every year growing up. I don't because I could buy one.
All you know,
I could buy one for." A discounted price, and I could sell it at the end of the year for what I paid for it. So I always had a new one. So
that's where the tinkering started.
Yeah,
because you're a big gear guy as well, right?
Yeah, I love gear. So.
Always writing about it.
So, and then I started. It was like in 2008. I killed. It was actually my first out-of-state elk hunt. I went to Alaska caribou hunt the year before, but in 2008 I went to Colorado and shot a bull, and then I killed a bull in Idaho. And I had a guy named Brian Strickland. I don't know if you've read many magazines, but Brian's written forever. And Bowsight was a big deal then. You remember Bowsight? Yep. Mm-hmm. And he asked me to use my photos for an article he was doing. I said, well, I actually kind of want to write myself, And so he got me in touch with Joe Bell. Do you know who Joe Bell is? He was the editor at the time, was Bow and Arrow Hunting magazine.
Yep.
And I'd actually written a story about my caribou article. And I emailed it to him like 5 p.m. I thought, I'll never hear from this dude again. And 30 minutes later, he emailed me. He's like, hey, I'd like to buy your article from you. And I was like, wow. Pay me $300 for it. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, Yeah. So I did a few here and there, and then it just kind of snowballed, and now I just do a lot of it now. But
yeah. And you've written for a lot of different
people, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I wrote for Eastman's for a while. That's kind of the first people I worked for, and then left there, and I wrote for Western Hunter for a number of years, but I've written for most of the big publications now.
Yeah.
I just freelance now. But.
Yeah. Talk to me about so growing up, obviously you got into hunting. How important do you think that is, passing that down generationally?
Oh, it's a pretty big deal to me. I mean, I think that we're in I don't know, it's crazy because there's all these different camps. Like they say hunting is going away, and that's definitely not the case in the West. I mean, the West, and I think it's because somewhere where you guys grew up, you can't go there and hunt anymore. You can't go find a place to hunt, but we have so much, like this public land issue last week, everybody, it's like we have so much of everybody's coming out here, but I do feel like my kids are really distracted. Like my boy's in high school now, and he plays a lot of sports and keep him busy and video games and, all these different stuff. And so, I mean, my kids shot more stuff before they were the age of 12 than most adults have shot. I mean, I took them everywhere I could. My boy's, it's ridiculous. My boy is 15. I think he's killed 10 or 11 deer in 3 or 4 different states. He's killed a couple antelope, killed a couple elk. I mean, he shot a lot of stuff, And so I really I knew they were going to get busy later, and so I really tried to cram a lot of time in before they were too busy. And so I think it made as a family, Brianna and I, we have 3 kids. We tried to make it a focus. Like when our oldest daughter, she was 2 years older than her sister, and then the boy's 2 years younger. The kids lose, once you have multiple kids, there's a lot of time. So when we went on hunts with our kids, we made that about them. When we took Naya, my oldest daughter, when she drew a bull tag, we took Naya. The kids stayed with the grandparents, the other two, and we took her, and it was all about her.
Okay.
We tried to do that, and so it was. I think I know it was really special for them, and so I think it's been a big deal.
Do you think the kids today, I mean, do they still have that passion for the hunting, would you say?
My boy's so busy right now, he likes it. Like, my wife, I'm like, I don't think he likes it as much as me. And my wife's like, well, to be fair, you're not normal. And so I don't know if he'll ever like it as much as I do. My younger daughter, I didn't know if she was going to like it at all.
Yeah.
And then she started, she's like 11 or something. Her first year she didn't hunt, and now she's probably as into it as any of them, but she's also got this boy she's marrying and next week, and he's really into it. And we got him a bow last year. He killed a really big buck last year that he probably didn't deserve for his first year bow hunting. And
ain't that how it works out sometimes?
Yeah. But yeah.
Talk to me about, because you think there's a specific core memory that like really sparked that passion for you? Because you said you started archery hunting elk at 12 and you didn't kill your first bull until you're 15.
No.
What kept you coming back as a kid?
It's
so easy to get distracted.
I just don't think we were distracted.
Okay.
Like, I really think that was it. But man, I really wanted to go.
Generationally, the time.
So I just really wanted to go. And my buddy, I played sports in middle school, and I didn't even play sports in high school. I just wanted to go hunting.
No kidding.
And it's just what I wanted to do. My other buddies would be at football practice. My buddy Shad owned his family. They bought this house, and it had like 30 acres and just had like this little wood lot. And like, I literally would leave my bow at his house. I would get off school. They'd all go to football practice. I'd ride my dirt bike like 15 miles to his house, go in his room, grab my bow, go down hunting all evening. Go get on. They just let me, just friends of the family. But everybody else at football practice, and I just wanted to chase elk and deer around. So I don't know. I'm not hardwired, right? I have buddies that, like my buddy Sheldon, is really into hunting, and he's like, dude, I don't like hunting as much as you, and he hunts a lot. Yeah, I'd hunt every day if I could. But
just a passion.
It's just not normal, I guess. I don't know.
Started from a very early age.
Yeah.
And you hunt, you said earlier, I mean, it's not just Idaho. You hunt all over.
Yeah, I hunt everywhere I can. I mean, I've hunted in pretty much every western state. I haven't had a tag in New Mexico, but I've hunted in Arizona, Colorado, Montana, Wyoming, Utah, Alaska, Oregon. Yeah, just now I'm really into whitetail hunting. I don't know how that happened, but now I'm hunting whitetails all over
the Midwest.
So, yeah.
What did you do early on to get your kids kind of introduced to it? Was it just something that you were so obsessed with that they were naturally a part of it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's
a
deal. Like, if you're into basketball, your kids are going to play basketball, But, I mean, my kids play sports. I really love sports, too. Like, it's funny that I played it my senior year in high school, but I grew up loving basketball, so I really love basketball. And my kids, like my oldest daughter played 2 years of college volleyball, and so they were busy. Yeah. But, they had bows in their hand when they were 3 years old. That's one of the biggest things. Yeah. My cousin custom builds long bows, and he built all of them long bows. And by the time they were 3, they were shooting long bows. And,
that's so cool.
Yeah, so they've just and then just transitioned up from there. I just always made sure they had the right gear to do it, and if they wanted to go, I was willing to take them. And I don't know, I just think it's our lifestyle, and they don't know anything else.
Yeah.
Right.
And where you guys live, too, it's so conducive, right? To where you can be there quick.
Yep. Yeah, we can be hunting in no time where I live. So, and which
Awesome.
Which has been a key thing, too, is like, that we try to get them tags that are close to home that we can just run out in between, or whether it's general tags or draw tags. And then my wife's been good for me because, like, we've kind of like balance each other out because my daughter was like 10. She drew a bull tag that all of us would want where we live. And like, I'm like, we got to kill a huge bull, and right at the beginning, Brianna's like, you need to be, it doesn't matter what she shoots. It's just about her, And so then and then we get it on this bull. It's like, I love like freaky horned. We saw this like bull's like a little raghorn, and she's like, we shouldn't shoot that. I'm like, hey, you said we could shoot whatever. We should shoot whatever she wants, And so, and that it kind of was like a moment for me. I realized it's like, man, it's not about me. Whatever she wants to shoot. And then another thing I think people need to focus on is like I had to focus on not making it too hard. Like your kids don't want it when they're 10 years old. Most of them, I would have when I was that age. Most of them don't want to go on a all day grinder, And like I found like. What really I think got him into is like if I could spot something before we left the truck, even if it was 3 miles away, it made a huge difference. Hey, there is a bull up there. There is a buck up there. They're all about it. But like just the daily just grinding and out, they aren't about that. But now they are. But
well, that's a great piece of advice. So you're talking about
Yeah.
taking kids into opportunities where you might be able to see something
Right.
further road, giving them kind of that goal at
Yeah.
the end, something to look forward to.
yeah, because even my wife, she's like, because I'll hunt elk I have a strict no work policy in September. I do not work.
I love it.
I haven't.
need to
I haven't
adopt
since
that.
I graduated high school. I've never worked in September, and I'll go every day. It doesn't bother me. I'll go morning and night every day.
Right.
And my wife's even like, I don't want to do that. And so kind of try to focus on when it's a little more opportunity.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't have to go 5 miles every morning to get where they want to go. So I think that helped too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, talk to me a little bit about that because you're talking about that is a passion of yours. You love it, but it's still not easy to hunt every day in September. Like, what do you struggle with when you're out there? What keeps you going?
I don't really struggle with much now. I used to. You had Dan in here last week. Like, Dan is just like a picture of health. Like these guys, like you guys all like a picture of health. Like I do not look like that. Like I am not a picture of health. But like I mentally can probably grind with anybody. And I think that's the thing that as I've got older, like I really lean on is like, I know a lot of guys are in great shape but they break down real easy and they just can't mentally keep going. And I mentally, like I just have a bank of, I get asked all the time. If you've listened to me on podcasts, people ask me all the time, what is it? Like time in the field. That is the secret sauce.
Right.
And like, I guarantee you on the 27th of September this year, if I haven't killed a bull, I will be going just like I did on day one. And a lot of guys just can't hack it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and that's something that's not something that you grow into. I mean, I guess you have to. I guess it is something you grow into. So it is acquired. That's something you've got to practice.
Right.
And so, do you think, like all these years? I mean, what has gotten your mental strength to that level?
I think the biggest thing for me is I truly believe we're all hunting just for that one moment every fall, like that. I just need one opportunity to go my way and I can kill a bull, right? And I just have such a bank, like I just keep going, and even though it's going crappy and I'm not doing good and there's too many people and the weather sucks, but like if I keep going, I just have a track record that if I keep going, I will get my opportunity. And so like that is just my thing. Like I just have to keep going every day. I just have to keep going, and whether that's, and sometimes that's switching tactics or whatever, but it's like you said, I've just acquired that over the year. I just got this memory bank that like, okay, remember that time in 2003 where I can tell you, in 2003 I hunted 13 days and I hadn't had a shot. And on the 14th of September, within about 30 seconds, my entire season changed and I killed a 6-point bull.
Yeah. Wow. And it can happen so fast.
That fast.
Yeah.
That's just
like
it.
from we literally hadn't heard a bull. He bugled, and 30 seconds later, he was dead.
Wow.
He came like on a dead sprint down the hill. And it's just like, I just really lean on that. And like, it hurts more than it used to, but I just keep.
Physically.
Yeah, physically.
Yeah.
But I just keep going.
So there had to be a point in time when early in your hunting days that you didn't have this mental strength.
2007, I can tell you that too.
Okay, so talk about
2007, I hiked. I'd hunted all season, and I'd hiked we went to Alaska that year, and I'd killed a caribou with my bow in Alaska, and we just drove up there and hunted, and it was awesome. But if I don't kill an elk, I don't have a good year. That's my mentality. And we'd hiked the last day of the season. We hiked up to this big drainage, way up on top. We spotted a big bull all the way across that drainage, and I was just tired. It'd just been a long fall. And I knew if I dropped down, I was going to have to literally drop 2,000, climb 2,000, and then I either had to come back that way or I had to walk out 7 or 8 miles to a different trailhead, and I didn't go. And I never forgave myself for it. I was just like, dude, you had 1 day left.
Wow. You've remembered
And that literally is
18 years later.
Literally last time, it's like I was like, nope, that ain't ever happening again. I will hunt until dark on the last day if I have to. And I'll be happy with it that I didn't get. I'll be happy with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you had no
But
regrets.
I won't be happy if I quit.
Yep. You wouldn't have any regrets.
And I miss some days now. Like I say, I hunt every day, but I miss days now for, football games and family stuff. But I also have a very, very supportive wife.
Yes, you do.
I recognize that a lot of people don't have what I have there too. So,
Right.
So like I'll be on a hunt and kind of complaining about it, and she's like,
hey, you could be.
Well, she don't want to live with me all year if I don't kill one, so she's just like, just go get this done. And so,
You guys have been married for how long?
Yeah, it'll be 24 years in August.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you guys do a fair amount of hunting together, or you did, right?
Yeah, it's been it's been a struggle with kids, because moms are better than all of us, in my opinion. But,
that's the truth.
Yeah, so she does a lot of mom stuff. Doesn't have as much as she used to, but she goes a lot. And I think she was complaining. I think she packed out 4 elk last year. She said that was plenty.
No kidding.
She packed out more elk than some adults do in their whole life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think we killed 4 of them, and we killed 5 of them in like 19 days. But I think she's only there on 4 of them when we packed them out. So,
wow.
And is this all family, friends,
so
family?
I killed 2. I'm dying in here sweating, you guys.
It's a little
I killed 2. My dad killed 1. My boy killed 1, and my father-in-law killed 1.
Okay. Wow,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a little warm in here. I meant the hot seat for real.
I killed 1. I think started the September 23rd. I killed 1 with my bow. My father-in-law killed 1 on the 1st. It was a little more than 19 days. My father-in-law killed 1 on the 1st. I killed 1 on the 9th, and my boy killed 1 on the 19th, and then my dad killed 1 in Wyoming on the 22nd.
That's cool.
Wow. So, what does September's look like for you now?
There's a lot of elk
You're
hunting.
saying there's a lot of elk hunting. Are you setting up big base camps?
Yep.
And okay. And
We're going to do a video today of my gear dump on my backpack, and like I did not bring my backpack and stuff like purposely because it's like I watch you guys gear dumps, which are awesome, but it's like not everybody backpack hunts every day,
Nope.
I backpack hunt usually September. I'll usually backpack about 5 days.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's really dependent on as I get older, like I trying to like lean a lot more into like spending time with people that I really want to spend time with, and a lot of people I hunt with don't want to backpack. I love backpacking. My buddy from Oregon that I hunt with a lot, whenever we get together, we backpack hunt, but a lot of times it's just set up our RVs, all of us, or set up, if we go out of state, we take wall tents, and just a lot of that.
So you're just being diverse. You're able to backpack if you want to, or there's a lot of hunting.
I do both. Yeah.
Okay. So, talk to me a little bit about why you've chosen to go that route. Is it because the crew you hunt with is primarily not wanting backpack hunt, or do you find more success that way? Being
I definitely
diverse?
kill a lot more elk doing it that way, but I don't. Not that I don't, and that's also due to the fact that 95% of the time I'm hunting that way too. It's like I love elk camp. I mean that's it. Like I do love elk camp. I love hunting camp. I love everybody coming back and telling the stories of the day, and I love backpack hunting too, just because I love the simplicity of it. That we can unplug from life, and like all we got to worry about surviving. Which is. We live pretty cush life for saying it's surviving.
We do. Right?
But but all you got to worry about is finding water and hunting elk. I like that, but I do love camp, and I love my bed and my shower and my camper.
Hey, there is nothing wrong with that. You've been hunting elk a long time. Right. There is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So do you find yourself when you're out there for that long? Are there points where it's like I'm taking today off? And
No.
Not at all. You go every single day.
Unless I have something going, I don't take days off.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's impressive, man.
Yeah. Unless I have if I'm gonna have a football game, if I have a football game with my boy, I'll run home. I'll hunt the morning. I might run home, get some stuff in our house the next day and go to the football game, and I'll be back to camp the next day. But
okay.
For a long time when my kids, before they were in sports, it was awesome because our kids have 4-day school weeks, and I was and Brianna, my wife, worked 4-10s, and so every Thursday she would just bring the kids and come to me, and they spent all weekend at elk camp, and that made it real easy. Now it's kind of harder because they're not there all the time. So, but we also can communicate now, with InReach, or now we can just send text with our Apple phones. So but.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's wild how well that works too.
It is. Yeah. So. Yeah. But I don't take days off. And like a lot of I think that's like the thing. Like I hunt with guys that take days off, and I'm not saying it's the main leader to my success, but I know the guys that take days off, and I know that I don't, and I know who's more successful. I don't want to be a jerk, but I know that's a fact.
Numbers don't lie.
Every day I'm out there, it's like that's one more day closer.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you're being a jerk. I think you're just telling it the truth. Because we're here trying to help people get better at hunting and get better in life, and that's just the reality of it.
So do you find when you do that style hunting from the truck or a base camp like that, do you feel like you log more miles daily?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
More mobile.
But I also think that you like backpacking, like there's places I hunt that I love to backpack, and there'll be like 6 trucks to the trailhead, and I'm just like, man, like it might be awesome, but I think my odds of running a bunch of dudes back there, and it's like, or I can just park here and I can drive 5 miles in the morning and there's not a pickup there.
Right.
Or I can check 4 trailheads in the morning and pick the one that doesn't have a pickup at it.
Yeah.
Right.
I just think you can really, with backpack hunting as awesome as it is, I think you can really get your spot. You're like, well, we're here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to pack
Put so much effort
else
to get in there.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think that but even day hunting, you can just sleep on the hill, stay on the hill in the middle of the day and hunt the evening, But it just depends. If like my wife and kids are at camp, I'll hunt till noon. I'll walk back for a few hours and then I'll go again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I definitely walk more miles that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
How much e-scouting goes into your hunting?
This is a question everybody always asks me, man. I don't hardly e-scout at all.
Okay.
I e-scout more for our turkey hunt than I do for anything else.
I've been pretty impressed with that.
Yeah. And we are bad at turkey.
We are bad turkey hunters, brother. We were real bad.
I didn't even get to go and see the...
Well, speaking of that, all of a sudden we shot some turkeys and somebody wasn't there. I don't know.
There was there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking there might
quite a bit.
There might be a trend.
No, you're going. No, I don't e-scout a lot. Like I'm actually working. I'm going to write an article about this. Like, there's like 2 different camps on this. I think like there's guys that I mark all my waypoints on hunts, almost all of them. You go to the hunts and you'll hunt with guys like everything's marked out. Like almost every waypoint on my Onyx is marked when I'm there.
Okay.
So
from boots on the ground.
Yeah.
And this is in season hunting, not as much preseason.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you hunt? Are you that person that likes to hunt the same spot over and over if it's proven, or are you that person that's like, I got to go see what's over there. I got to go see what's over there.
I love casting out. Like I love my spot that I hunt every year. Like I've hunted forever. I love it. But like I'm just a wanderer. I love going to new places and hunting, But usually if I am going to travel, I'm going to travel, though. Usually if I'm going to travel, I'm going to go to a different state. I'm going to do my stuff where I love to hunt with my family, and I'm going to travel.
Gotcha.
But,
and when you're traveling, are you e-scouting those locations, or you're just kind of just putting a pin down and going
pretty much access to a lot of areas and then show up. Like, I hunt with guys that like you'll show up and they'll have their whole day mapped out on Onyx. I'm just like, even if I did plan it, it wouldn't work because I show up like I'm not going there.
Right. Everything looks different.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, everything looks different once you actually get out there, right?
Yeah. So, and if a guy's hunted and that's like a time in the woods thing, like I feel like I can show up somewhere if there's elk. Like I have a pretty good idea when I see it, like there's gonna be elk there, and that just comes from spending time doing it, Yeah. But guys just start and can't get to that, and so I don't think it's bad to rely on e-scouting. It's just I just don't do it as much as I almost feel stupid when people ask me that question.
How much time do you think you spend throughout the year on the mountain? If you had to throw a number of days, if you had to guess at it.
30.
That's a guarantee.
Pretty much all September and October, most years.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you do much scouting though before the season?
I don't as much as I'd like to. I used to do a lot more, but now I hunt so much now. I almost feel guilty scouting in the spring or in the summer. So
well, that's not a bad tip to put your eggs in the basket that you're not wanting to take time away from your family during the off season, and you're comfortable with your ability to find animals during the season.
And that's the thing. Like I know I know that like I can go all September. Brianna does not care. She'll say go at it. But if I was like, hey, I'm going to scout every weekend this summer, she might be like, maybe not, you know.
Yeah, here's the doghouse.
Yeah, because I'm already extending it into
Whitetail
season, and now I'm really into turkey hunting, and it's like I don't know. I have a super obsessive personality, I think, and luckily I've channeled it to hunting, so it doesn't get me in trouble.
Yeah,
I don't drink, and I don't chase women, and so.
Yeah. Just elk hunt for 30 days out of the year.
Yeah.
I love it.
Usually about 40 to 50 elk days a year between rifle and muzzleloader.
And you hunt a lot with your brother too, right?
Yeah, quite a bit.
Yeah, which is pretty awesome.
He doesn't like to hunt as much as I do, but he likes to go. How's that?
He gets good tags.
Jeremy can draw some tags.
He gets
because he doesn't care.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, he doesn't care. Yeah, so he's fun though. He goes on almost all my out-of-state hunts. He goes. He doesn't even hunt with me a lot. He just goes.
Okay.
Like basically, we'll go to that is Jeremy's huge help. We'll go to. I've drawn a couple of Utah tags, and we show up, and I'm like, he's like, "What do you want me to do?" I'm like, "I want you to drive every single road in this place with your 4-wheeler," and he is all about it. He'll spend a week driving every road and tell me access spots, where he's seen elk, where he's seen people. He'll have it all mapped out.
That's a game changer, too.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. But he's drawn some really awesome tags. You know, he drew a Henry Mountains bison tag and drew an oryx tag in New Mexico. He has an elk tag in Utah this year.
Did you join him on either of those?
I've been on all of them, yeah. So I went on all his hunts he's been on, so.
That's special, too, to be able to have that relationship.
If you knew him, it wouldn't be that special.
He's awesome.
And your dad, he had a pretty special hunt this last year, right?
Yeah. He killed a bull in Wyoming. He'd been building points I think he burnt 15 points. He'd actually drawn twice in the last 5 years and had to turn them back due to back surgeries and stuff. And so he really has a hard time walking now. He lost all the feeling in his left foot. So yeah, but he I did a bunch of research and found a unit that was mostly a desert unit and killed a really nice bull on the first day, so that was cool.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Wow.
We pretty much, we drove within a half mile of it, which was, we knew we were going to be up against it, so that's what we did.
Yeah. How special was that?
It was pretty awesome. Yeah. I just wrote an article for it, and if you get a chance, just in North American Elk Magazine, it's a super cool story.
Yeah.
Kind of about my whole upbringing and about how all the time he put into me, and kind of wrapping that hunt into it was cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I'd never seen him really emotional, and he was pretty emotional that day. So,
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you think that was his last one?
Yeah, probably. I think he'll probably hunt some, but I don't know. He really can't walk very far.
Yeah.
And he's really slow.
Yeah. I wish I had one more hunt with my dad.
Yeah. So we knew it was probably it. So, but yeah, we've hunted a lot together. He hunted like a week or 2 weeks every year until once I started going all fall. He pretty much went all fall. He worked a little bit. He retired when he was 60 though, and until he was from probably like probably when I graduated until he was like in his 64. I graduated when he was. He'd have been like almost 50 when I was like 48 when I graduated. We probably hunted together elk hunting 3 or 4 weeks a year for 15 years.
Wow.
So hunted a lot of elk together.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a really cool time.
Excited to read that article.
Yeah, it was fun. So,
yeah, we'll have Chase put a link to it in the bio. That's cool. Where did you say it's published?
It's on North American Elk. So,
okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, we'll get a link to that. I'm
cool.
excited to read that. I haven't seen it either.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What's one of the most common mistakes you think newer elk hunters are making nowadays?
Going too hard out of the gate.
Okay. Expand on that a little bit for me.
I just see guys, like I ran to some guys at a trailhead a couple of years ago, and like their truck was there, and then they were gone. It was like the first of Labor Day weekend. They're from Minnesota, and then they're back there. There's this trailhead that I hunt quite a bit, and they were there, and they sat at that truck. They wore themselves out, went into the backcountry in the wilderness area. They sat at that truck for like a week, just staring at that. When they got back, just staring at that trailhead. And they finally just went home. And I'm like, dude, you guys didn't need to go 15 miles when you first got here. I think guys just show up from back east or the Midwest and think there's just, like we've just painted this picture that you've got to go. You got to have a 60-pound pack, and you got to go 15 miles. And I think they just wear themselves out. You just need to be out there. You need to find elk. You need to stay with those elk. If you find them, just keep hunting them smart, which is, it's hard to hunt them smart at times just 'cause there's so many people, but just like keep after it is a lot better than going 15 miles and just gassing out on day 3.
Yeah.
So it happens a lot.
That's a common thing nowadays too, that you're seeing. That's kind of the new perception is you have to backpack hunt. You got to get super deep and get away from people. And from my experience, those heavily pressured units, those bulls are not that far from roads because they're smart.
Yeah.
They've been playing this game now. Yeah.
I met a guy a couple of years ago at that same exact trailhead. He told me where he'd been, and he'd been there like 3 days. I'm like, why? And the dude was in super shape, like ice. He's like probably 6'4". He probably could have ran there. Long legs, lean dude, and I think he had pictures. He'd been there, and I know where I've been there. His long ways. He had been in on nothing, and I'm like, dude, you went that far the last 3 days. You haven't been hunting. You're just walking.
Yeah, you're carrying your bow.
And it's like you just don't need to do that. People have this. People say they can't go elk hunting. It's common. Like somebody was talking about this on Facebook last week. Like, I can't afford to go elk hunting out west, or people say I can't physically. Yeah, you can. You might not be able to go. You can afford to go elk hunting if you want to. Anybody can.
Right.
And you can go elk hunting if you want to. You don't have to kill yourself. There's things you can do. I've killed a lot of elk within a mile of a pickup.
Yeah.
There's a lot of wisdom in that because it is. I think there's been such, to your point, and rightfully so. I mean, it's a different style hunt, right? Backpacking in 5-6 miles.
Yep.
Right. That whole experience.
Yep.
But I mean, you hear it over and over and over again from folks. Is like, I killed my animal half a mile from the truck, a mile from the truck. I think we do add all this extra pressure at times.
I've probably killed the majority of my elk between 2 and 4 miles from the pickup.
No kidding.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's like, and another thing, exactly what you're saying though. So these dudes show up and they backpack in there. They're back at the trailhead 2 days later, staring at that trailhead. What would they have done if they'd have shot an elk?
Right.
Like I don't think people understand how big they are when they hit the dirt.
No,
either.
I totally agree.
We had a guy out there a couple of years ago we were hunting. He was driving camp to camp, begging people to pack out. I had horses and mules. I got rid of them, but like begging people. It's like, dude, you should have thought of that before you showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't. Yeah. The elk can't hit the dirt, and then you decide you need somebody to help you pack it out. It don't work that way.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you got to show up knowing you can do it, man. It's crunch time in September. It's going to be hot today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk to me a little bit about that. What are you doing for early season field care to get animals taken care of? Because you were absolutely right. There are some early season times in September.
Majority of times, like where we hunt in Idaho, most of us hunt in Idaho, I think you can hang elk for a couple days.
Yeah.
I just get them quartered fast as I can and get them hung, and I don't think it's an issue. But
are you deboning them, or
no, I don't debone them?
Just finding a shady spot near a creek,
and for that reason, because I feel like deboned meat is a lot more likely to spoil. Mm-hmm. Even if I was backpacked, even when I backpack, I quarter them and hang them. And even if I'm going to debone them to pack them out, I'm going to hang them and cool them first.
Yeah.
So.
And you say that just so the audience knows, why is that? Why do you think it's more likely?
I just think you get big bags of jelly when you
just falls.
Yeah, it's just in a big bag, where they're on the quarter. Like if you get the hide off of an elk and hang it up, it's gonna be at least in the 40s or lower every night in Idaho high country or Montana or Wyoming. There's places in Arizona but even like I've killed a couple bulls in southern Utah, but I'm still high there too, though.
Right.
I mean, it's still pretty high. I don't really I hung a bull 2 years ago. I think it was about 9,500 feet, but I hung him for like 3 or 4 days. Till my wife was gonna. We had some animals we've been wanting to use them, and she just couldn't get off work, and she's like, "Well, we can just do it Thursday." And I shot on Monday, and it was fine. I mean, there was no issue at all. But
yeah. Just finding a shady tree.
I really go in the dark timber and try. Even if that's packing it a quarter mile till a really good shade. But get them hung up and they're fine. Get wind blowing around them and shade. They're good.
So what's your preferred style of hunting for elk? Do you like timber, dark timber? Do you like more open desert? Do you have a preference?
I prefer my classic, if I dream it in my head, it's like big sagebrush ridges surrounded by timber pockets, where I can glass and then go hunt them in the timber when they move in the timber. But I am really gravitating towards stalking also now, so I do like I do love situations. I'll still hunt that stuff primarily, but if I see in a situation where I can hunt them out in the open, where there's like, I don't want to hunt them in wide open sagebrush, but like, you know, where there's stockable terrain, I'll take it. So
yeah. So I'm assuming you're not calling a lot in those scenarios.
Not in those, but I've killed most of my elk calling. I've shot them calling, I've shot them stalking, and I've shot them ambushing them on water and stuff. But what
changes those tactics? Is it time of year? Is it environment?
Just a situation for me. Like I killed my first bull in Utah. We were just hunting through some timber and we found this spot that was just like, there was like trails, like spider web trails coming to this spot. And I'm like, these are going somewhere. And there was just like this big torn up wallow. And I never sat water. And I'm like, I think we should sit here. So we went out. I take a ground blind on every trip. I just throw it in my truck just to have it. You know, it's not that, tip. You know. Yeah. And that afternoon, well, no, it was that morning, the evening before. The next morning, my dad and I just hunted our way in there, and then we got in the middle of the day, and I set up my blind. We got in there at like 3 in the afternoon, and I shot a bull at like 7, and there was just bulls screaming everywhere, and all of them were coming right to the water. You know, so it was just like, if I wouldn't have stumbled upon that, that would have never happened. It was just by chance. But the stalking thing has just happened over time just because they're getting harder to call, just because all the people. But yeah. But even in the timber, like if I got a bull going, I used to have a tendency to just like sit back and call and just have this back and forth, you know, he's bugling, you know, now it's like, if he's making noise, I'm going, you know, so it's kind of like a mixture of like a calling and stalking.
If he's making noise, you're not going to respond. You're just going to go in quiet.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And are these just solo scenarios, or is that when you have a designated caller?
No, I kill most of my elk by myself.
Okay.
I mean, I've killed quite a few with people. I used to kill almost all of them with people, but my last, I don't know, 7 or 8, I've probably killed probably 90% of them by myself.
Mm. Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about that final, like closing that final distance then, because that's a common problem for people solo elk hunting is the bulls hang up.
And that's like, I mean, of course they hang up on me all the time, but like, I just try to get so close that they don't have, like, if you're trying to call people need to understand the difference between calling 100 yards and calling 30 yards is a big difference.
Huge.
You know, well, you're within 30 yards, they don't got to walk, you know, it ain't much to get to you, but if they're 100 yards and you're calling to them, they're just going to be like, I don't know. And I'm not sure I'm convinced enough, and they'll just move off, and they'll call just to keep you calling. You know, they'll bugle just to move away from you. But like, if they're calling, I just move, and it kind of does change if I'm calling. Like when I'm with other people, generally I'm the caller. Like I love watching other people shoot elk, so like if I'm with other people, I'm the caller, and so we'll kind of switch that up, and like I'll still push them to get close, but I'll sit back and call. But if it's me and they're calling by themselves, I don't even call. I just go. You know, and then if they do, if like I can't see them, I can't figure where they're at, you know, I'll give them a real subtle bugle, and maybe like I usually just give them like one cow call, like, and if he bugles, then I'm done too, you know. And a lot of people have like this, you know, a lot of people just run towards elk, you know, they make all sorts of noise, and I think that's a good scenario too if you're having that back and forth conversation. But like a lot of times anymore, when I'm moving towards elk, I'm stalking. I'm being quiet. Like I want to get close enough to him that he makes a mistake, especially if it's with cows. Like I just want to be, if he's bugling, I want to get close as I can within bow range of the cows, preferably, or him, whatever it is, if he's by himself, that he'll just eventually make a mistake on his own. You know, instead of like literally trying to call them to your scenario. Yeah, just because they're getting smart. There's too many people blowing out calls at them.
Yeah. How close are you trying to get when you're doing the spots?
So close enough that I feel like I can't go anymore, or I'm going to get busted. You know, a lot of that timber you're hunting. You know, you can get into 100 yards. It really isn't that hard. You know, but that getting to 50 yards gets hard. You know, because they can see, and so like close enough. I feel like okay, if I make one wrong move here, I'm done, and then I'll probably set up and call.
So are you wearing moccasins or anything like that?
No, not generally. Okay. Just where I hunt. I don't probably should, but I'd be taking them off and then putting them back on, you know. But I wear really lightweight boots always. I mean, I don't wear heavy boots. I always wear lightweight boots and just keep moving.
Man, that is a great piece of advice, because I haven't heard that phrased that way either, because it is common. Bulls, I've experienced it more so in the morning, where bulls will keep talking almost to keep your location known so they can keep moving away.
Right.
And I've never heard it put that way, the way you just worded it.
That's exactly my way right through that. You see that?
Because that's exactly what's happening. Like, everybody
exactly
has experienced that so many times. But
and it's so fun to just sit there, because they'll just rip. You know, you bugle to them, they'll bugle. You cow to them, they'll bugle. It's like, that's great, but it doesn't kill a lot of elk.
It's like turkeys. I think that our turkeys did that too so much.
Maybe I'll figure out turkey. I'm getting closer. I killed 2 of them this year.
That's right.
So,
I love it.
But they'll just keep calling to you just to keep calling, you know. So I don't know, that's just one of those things. You just got to learn to read the situation, I think, you know.
Right.
Like some bulls, you can just call and call and call, you know. The bull I killed last year never made a single peep all morning. I was just cold calling through. There was sign, and I sat up and I cow called, and I just kind of like heard something. And I was like, and I actually was kind of pouting because nothing was going my way. And I never stand up when I call. I always kneel. I've killed almost every elk I've ever shot off my knees. And
interesting. Okay.
I think it's just because I'm like a big guy and I feel like naked in like a turd in a punch bowl standing there. So I always kneel down, but this spot wasn't conducive for it, so I was like standing up kind of behind a tree, and I cow called a couple times, nothing. I'm just like, man, another day, nothing. You know, I've been hunting for 23 days at this point. And I sat down on my butt, I'm like kind of kicking rocks, and I heard something. I was like, what was that? And so I kind of looked, and I could just see legs, and so I just stood back up. He walked right out like 45 yards. Like I must have literally, I was just moving through the timber quiet. I bet he was bedded within 60 yards of me when I called. You know, he just stood up and he walked right into view. But it's just like,
and he never made a peep.
Nope, never made a peep.
Was this early season?
It was 23rd of September.
Wow, late. And how big? What age class?
Just a 5-point. Just like a 3-year-old, 2.5-year-old.
And still never made a peep.
No,
interesting.
No, just walked right out. But that's another one of those, like, it only takes one chance.
Yeah.
And it's over, you know.
Yeah. And it can happen so fast. That's such a great piece of
advice. My buddy Josh asked if I'd met you. My buddy Josh is a 7-foot-tall cop from Montana.
I love Josh.
You met Josh?
Yes, absolutely.
He hunted with me last year. He's probably my best buddy. He hunted together last year.
Yeah.
And Josh is like going through this journey. Josh is 10 years younger than me. And so he's like in the part of his life where he's full of piss and vinegar, but he's not as mentally tough, and he knows it.
Yeah.
And so Josh knows he'll bail on hunts. Like, he knows if it's not going right, he'll bail on hunts. So he's like really working on it. But this time he had to go home, and it'd been going bad. We hadn't gotten nothing. And I have a text thread. I'll have to show it to you. But he says he left and he went home, and I said, I'm going to kill a bull tomorrow. I texted him, and he says, of the list of things that surprised me, this wouldn't be one of them. And my next text to him was at 8:30 in the morning and said, bull down. And I said to him, he's just like, unbelievable. So
yeah. I love it. I hope that whoever's listening to this really grasps onto that too, because I feel like that's been my biggest transition, because I was the same way when I was younger.
Yep.
Any excuse to go home, and I feel like we've all experienced this, and probably everybody that's listened to it. It's like, I could get home and get this done, and my wife will be happy.
It's easy to start worrying about the problems at home that really don't exist.
Right.
Our wives have it. They're fine. Like, they do not need us home.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
no, that's the truth.
We want to go home at some point, but I guarantee our wives are going to be fine if we stay another day.
Yep.
You know, especially if it's planned. You know, it's like they're planning on you being gone. Just hunt.
Yeah, exactly.
But your mental toughness, though, it is interesting, because we've had a chance to hunt together, right? And just even this year when we did the turkey hunt, I mean, Zach was down
with
a horrible infected tooth, right, that you had just had pulled out.
I had a dry socket in my
and then
tooth.
He got dry sockets while we're out there.
Had to go to urgent care in the middle of the hunt.
Well, and begrudgingly, because you didn't want to go.
No.
And his whole thing was, I can't leave. I would never leave you guys until you guys get your birds. Yeah. And I mean, that's why you're so successful, man.
Just dumb.
100%.
Just not very smart. I ain't very smart, but I'm tough, I guess.
You are tough.
So,
well, and it does. A lot of that comes back. It can happen so fast.
It does. Yep.
It might be the last second of the last day. And I've had so many of those experiences. I understand. I get where you're coming from.
I shot a really big buck in like 2013 on the 28th of September. It had been snowing for like a week, and we hadn't hunted a lot. That year it snowed a ton in September, and we hadn't done much hunting for like 4 or 5 days. It was like 18 inches of snow in September, and I was like, finally, 28th of September, I'm like, dude, I got to do something. I cannot sit here anymore, So I took off, and I was actually stalking a 5-point bull that I'd spotted across the canyon. I was stalking up there. And I was like making like the last approach, and the bull was going to be like, I knew there was one big tree. It was on an open hillside, and I put that bull in behind the tree for me. And I was like, if I get to that tree, he's probably going to be like 65 yards, which the wind was blowing. It was not great conditions. I'm like, but if I get to there, maybe I can make something happen, So I'm like, get up there, and I got an arrow knocked, and I'm like trying to creep around the tree to get, and I like kind of looked, I caught something, I looked, and there's like 180-inch bucks down there at 30 yards. I'm like, whoa. So I just leaned back behind the tree, leaned up, and just smoked this biggest buck I'd ever killed. And then if I wouldn't have been an idiot, I could have, like, the buck ran up, and I shot him again, and then he ran off, and he just like cartwheeled down the hill. And I ran up, and I was just like, holy crap, how did that happen? I said that to myself. And I looked up, and the bull's still standing there. They're like 50 yards at this point. I'm like, oh! So I grabbed an arrow, and I got like halfway drawn back. And I was like, I was almost like at camp, like, man, I didn't deserve to shoot that deer. And my brother's like, yeah, you did. Because everybody else was sitting in camp doing nothing. I'm just like, there you go. You're right. So I put myself out there, and it's everybody's trying to sell a secret sauce to it all. And in my opinion, is just like, you just got to go.
Yeah. Get reps. Be there.
Yeah. At bats.
Yeah. So. I love it. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we end every podcast with some rapid fire. So Dennis is going to get some rapid fire ready. But I've got one more question for you before we get to that. You have 7 days in September. This is advice for somebody coming out west or somebody that can only take off
that,
a week.
Man, because then they'll go when I want to go.
Well, fair enough. Pick 7 days.
The 13th to the 20th.
Okay. Why?
Just I've killed most of my elk. I've killed most of my elk in like a 2-day period around the 14th, one way or the other. And I just think that you're gonna have decent rutting activity with elk that are actually going to respond compared to elk from the 20th to the 30th. They're probably going to respond, but they're probably not going to come. I think you have a better, especially guys that are willing to shoot any elk, any bull. That's the time period I'd go. If I was only targeting bigger bulls, I'd probably go earlier.
Great advice.
Mm-hmm. All right, buddy. So this is really easy.
Okay.
There's like 6 questions.
Okay.
And it's this or this.
Okay.
And it's rapid.
Okay.
But I understand that you're a big basketball fan.
Yes.
Okay. So the first question has to do with
Michael
that.
Jordan.
Next, it was Jordan or LeBron.
Michael Jordan. I knew it.
Yes. Golly. That's the first. Perfect. Okay. So the next has to do with clothing.
Okay.
Merino or synthetic?
Oh, man. What can I ask? What kind of hunt?
No, it's rapid fire. Pick one.
Probably synthetic if I'm not backpacking. How's that?
Okay. Real book or audio book?
Audiobook. I don't read enough.
Bow or muzzleloader?
Bow.
Cash or Venmo?
Venmo.
Look out now. That surprised me. Base camp or backpack hunt?
Base camp.
There you go.
I love it. Zach, where can the listeners find you, man?
Just hunt_DIY on Instagram, Facebook, and a YouTube that I don't use enough, but I'm going to crank it up this fall. So
okay. Well, we'll plug the YouTube then,
cool.
So you can crank it up this fall, and we'll get that a link to that article.
Kind of got burnt out a couple of years ago, so I haven't been filming in a couple of years, but we're going to get back to it.
Ooh.
You can also find a bunch of his articles on our blog.
That is correct.
Yep. Yeah.
There are a bunch of them there.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thanks, man. Thanks for coming on the Mountain Dude podcast again. And if you're listening, remember to give us a 5-star review. It helps the algorithm. Yeah. And leave some comments. Share it with a friend. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank
you. Until next time, keep your eyes on the summit. This is the Mountain Dude podcast, signing